that do that, I won't watch them because I feel they're exploiting the dead.
Well, not only that, but most of it's pretty bogus. And we're going to be debunking a lot of that tonight. So that's another reason why people come to see me. You know what's funny is I actually just started an online paranormal school to show people how to use these devices properly instead of the bullshit they're seeing on TV. So, yeah. Spirit boxes are my first course, and there's 9 lectures in that thing. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. I was working on it pretty much most of the day. That's why I needed a break of watching the Santa Claus. Like, I can't talk about the dead all the time. All right, so thermal imaging, when I start going through these devices, I'm going to do a very quick demo just to get them into your hands. You're going to have questions. I guarantee it. Hold on to those questions for me to the next 2 stops. We're going to do either one-on-ones or answer those questions as a group. I don't like to be on this noisy street corner for too longer than I have to. So, quick demo. You should be able to see me in there. All right, I'm the orange, red, and yellow guy. If you were a bridal party, I would be the hottest thing inside the video right now. Yeah, all the ladies laugh, and the guys look at me like, yeah, you're an ass. So you're going to see I have jokes, too. You're going to have fun. So what are we looking for with this guy? What do you think?
Heat.
Not heat.
No.
What's the opposite of heat?
Cold.
Cold. Looking for cold spots. Literal. So, yes, it's chilly out here. But at the same time, because we have a 97 to 99 degree person in here, if I'm warmer than that, you guys need to let me know and I need to go home because, I'm probably sick. But the whole point is we're looking for blue and black to either start moving on their own or start taking shape on its own. Normally, when they start taking shape, it's normally in the form of a person. So does this capture something every single night? It doesn't. But if we're not recording, we won't capture it. So I capture probably about 8 to 10 really solid pieces out of this guy per year. So again, this is not every episode I'm going to capture something. But again, it's super interesting to watch because you're going to get this full video back. The cool thing about your video when you get it back is there's a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's also giving you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. It's helping to guide your eye when you're getting your video back. We're going to do a few starts and stops with this, starting right now. Our vehicles in here. So where was it? Oh, this was the Eliza Lucas and Charles Pinckney mansion. It actually sat in the front of this space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden, lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So who the heck were these people? They had a son named Charles.
Oh, 3.2.
Okay. I got to write those down. So I got 1.7 and 3.2. Got it. 1732. Interesting. Anyway. So the son named Charles and a nephew named Charles, that's 3 different Chucks. So that's why we use secondary verifiers, because we might have any one of them come through. We're going to focus on Eliza, but if I don't mention the son and the nephew, it kind of gets a little angry. But who the heck were those 2 guys? They signed the Constitution for us. They're a pretty big deal. Yeah, exactly. So
Too many.
Too many, yeah. Here's kind of a little disclosure about this location. This was a location that I've been investigating for the past 3 years, night after night. We've been getting some very unwelcoming messages in this location, and I've been considering retiring it. We're not going to spend a ton of time here, but the history here is still super important. So in the event we're starting to get go away, run off, those kind of things, I'm going to take heed and actually give you the answers so we can move on. So.
Whoa, 3.0.
Of course.
I said no, we're done.
Yeah. Triple digits in this location, I need to know immediately. It's a big deal.
You mean 22 point something?
No,
You mean 100?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Maybe she doesn't like all the screaming going on. All right, so back to Eliza, because that's who we're going to be discussing in this location. Eliza married Charles at a young age, according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, you're not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14, which would have been obviously the young age back then. Think of today's standards. The only reason I bring this up is because her husband, Charles, was over double her age when they married. Creepy age gap in colonial times, creepy age gap now. So just kind of put that in the back of your brains. But she married him because her father was over in England, where she's from. And he thought he was dying. So I know, the screaming.
I'm sorry, I heard, what is this whenever you said
he just got a 3.4 when he talked about England.
She was pissed about it too, apparently.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the screaming may actually have an effect on this tonight. So we're going to see how this goes. But the dad over in England thought he was dying, and he's trying to bring all of his children home. And Eliza didn't believe he was dying. So she stayed put, and she got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card. Why? We're not a country yet. That's why. So she did marry him out of love. There was no foul play even after his death. So don't ask and poke the bear on that one. This is a very prominent, respectable English woman.
4.8.
It's going to get much higher than that, hopefully. So it's not that I'm not excited about a little bit of spike here, but again,
no, that's cool.
I'm waiting for those big ones.
So when it's a 4.8, it just means there's a lot of kind of shit going on.
We've got something interrupting his speed.
Okay.
So again, a 4.8 might be super high in another location. I just know this location well enough to know average is 18.2, and I have seen the highest reading I've ever gotten from that device in any of my investigations has been from this location. Just so everybody knows, 214 milligauss.
Damn.
I'll explain what that reading actually means later on. Anyway, back to Eliza with all the screaming in the background. She was right. Dad didn't die right away. So instead, Father starts sending her gifts from England to this space right here. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least a day that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. 3 examples perfectly here tonight. Sorry, you're out of the loop because you don't have blue on.
I'm so sorry.
I know, right? You failed. So when she got these seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's obviously not warm here all the time. So when she figured it out and experimented with it here, she moved it to a cash crop, got a hold of her father and said, the rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman with her during colonial times. What number do you have?
Right now, just points.
Oh, I thought you had something.
No, I was laughing because I thought it was funny that she was saying how rice is going to be, because rice was their gold here.
Yeah, it was, but I mean, it obviously plummeted, and they had to, make something anew, and that's why she was experimenting with the indigo. It's a pretty big deal, and indigo is expensive, so she knew where the profit was going to be. So that's the boring business stuff of Eliza, which is why we're here. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are. That's why you guys are here.
Yes.
So let's get into that. I'm going to kind of throw out, because we're using it's just 2 small parties, so I'm going to throw out a whole series of questions. You kind of use a grab bag of whatever you want to use. I'll kind of give you the gist of what is commonly heard at these locations.
Descend?
Descending of what?
I don't know. It was on defeat before for a
Yeah.
while.
So if you get the word crops or rice, I will accept descend as something, because to me descend is pretty vague.
No, of course.
So
It has to. We'll have to see. What
yeah,
it
we got to
says.
see another clue coming through. So questions you can ask, Miss Lexi. You ready?
Yeah.
The house isn't here anymore. You can ask what happened to it and when did that happen. It's obviously some kind of tragedy. I'm going to give you that clue.
What happened to the house here?
Hang on. There's going to
Oh.
be a whole series of them.
Oh, I was ready.
And we're going to spread out. I
I
know,
was
you're
ready.
ready. You're eager. She's on it.
Ooh.
So, again, when we spread out here, we're not going to go in between vehicles and that kind of thing. But anyway, more questions. That's obviously when I say when did that happen, it's a very, very specific date. So, again, that's what we're looking for. Normally, if we get what happened to it, we will get at least 2 out of the 3 digits that make up the date. So that would be the day in the year, the month in the year, something along those lines.
Manifest.
Mm.
That's a spooky term. Eliza's children, you can ask how many children she had and what their names were, but that's it. Don't poke the bear on this one. This is usually where we start to lose things. There's a tragedy among those kids. Don't ask about it. Okay? Very clear on that one. Eliza's death is a fun one to use because you can ask her anything you want to. How old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Again, very specific questions. So I think that's a pretty good amount for you guys to kind of cherry pick from. I do have to work with Brian to show him how to use that motion sensor while we're here. He's a very mobile guy, so I don't know if it's going to work out too well with him walking around with a motion sensor. So we're going to
Try
find
and
out.
stand still.
But again,
Be like a statue.
being a videographer in a paranormal investigation isn't always the most exciting job, which is why I gave her a device where you can listen in to help her out. It's not that I think she's going to struggle.
I guess
but-
I'll share.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's one of those pieces where you can both kind of listen in and see what's going on. Also, keep in mind, this is the only entrance and exit to this lot, so be mindful of where cars are, and again, please don't film any cars. People get weirded out. So I feel like we're all going to be responsible. He hasn't said a word other than his own name, by the way, since we all started. So I don't know if I just talk too damn much or
No,
what
don't
the
let him
case
fool
is.
you. He's a chatty cat.
Let's. I mean, if you guys want to go ahead and start spreading out and asking questions, and I'll catch up with you in just a minute. I got to show Brian how to use the motion
Okay.
sensor.
Okay.
All right. So we've already got the antenna up, which is perfect. So flip the device around to the back.
Wait. There you go. I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm getting bumping over here. What was the question? What happened to the house? Is
Yeah.
that what it was? What was her name? Liza? Eliza?
Yes.
Eliza, what happened to the house? shit.
Ask it again.
Eliza, what was your kids' names? Oh shit, I got hair in my eye. One. The only thing I heard was her say I don't, and then it was like a really sad voice right after I asked it. But that's the only thing that I heard. Or I could actually make it out. Slow ride. What was it, the year that she died? Was that the last one?
The year that the house burned down, I think. Or something happened to the house.
I can't remember.
What?
I can't remember. I think it was the year that she died.
Let's go over there.
Don't let me rip it out of your ear. Eliza, what year did you die? I was talking to him. Nancy. Did you hear Nancy or am I tripping? Okay. I'm still thinking about her going, what is this? That cracked me up. One. Liza, how many kids did you have? Scared the crap out of me. I heard Nancy. Is that one of the kids' names?
No.
No?
But I'm going to write it down because I don't know who the hell it is.
Okay. Well, Nancy said hi.
Nancy says hello. Yeah. I want you to also think, if you're asking questions,
Oh, sorry.
and I'm only saying this because you guys look way younger than me, think of the times that they were in. The word hi would not be something to a prominent
she
English
didn't
woman in
like-
colonial times.
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm just making a point
Right.
because you said, I said it,
Yeah.
she said hi, and I'm like, no, she said hello. But again, think of the things that you would ask this person, and how could you ask it in a respectable, very basic manner of our language that we have now. So we're going to use a lot different terms than she would.
Right.
She doesn't know that this is a camera. That's a box to her with a blue light on it. That's a box with a red light.
Yeah.
These are the things that I use, and I teach people, like, don't say, come to the spirit box. They don't know what the spirit box
Yeah.
is. Like, it's come to the box with the red light. You can use this to convey messages back to me. Very simple terms.
Okay.
Keep it nice and simple. Some of the other ghosts that we're going to deal with tonight in the same time period, they're going to be pirates and that kind of thing. We can be a little bit more harsh, but this
Okay.
is a very respectable woman.
Right.
So, again, anything crazy going on with your camera?
Not really too much.
Okay.
Not
I will
really
also
too
tell you
much.
with your camera, I don't always follow up with you in real time because I send that to YouTube so you can watch it however you want to. Nice big screen, much easier to find things versus the small cell phone screen. So again, it might not always be a real time find. When I do find something, I give you the still of it, so I take a screenshot and I point it out, and then
Okay.
also give you the markers of where it is in your full video. If it is something of a full apparition coming to a being, which we've caught in the past, I will cut it out, and it will kind of go into a full-blown, this is, convincing evidence kind of mentality. That's the kind of folder that it is.
Okay.
So again, when we do find those things, it's a holy cow moment.
Okay.
I've caught a very short person, shorter than you, actually walking towards us as we were coming through the red barn lot, and there was nobody there. It was
Right.
verified by another video camera we were using. There was nobody there, but I had
That's
a full-blown person in blue walking towards us. Like
Wow.
craziness. And the funny thing is, it was an 8-year-old girl that was using that camera.
Wow.
8-year-old can do it. You can. I'm so proud of you. Oh, come on. You're on my leash here.
sorry. Trying not to get any calls.
See? Ice Ice Baby. That's the second time I've heard
I
it.
did hear Ice Ice Baby.
I've heard it twice now.
Now, will you get the recording of this? It's hard. Yeah, it's
I do
hard.
in real time, unless I'm standing next to you and we're getting it on my audio.
Okay, I'm trying.
Christmas
I know
music.
it's very hard.
But I did get confessed publicly. And now I got it.
All the ladies were ruined.
I just said John.
Okay.
Again, bleed over from Big John's. We're only 1 block away. So it does happen. We could have been getting Eliza terms, or Pinckney terms, on her spirit box when I started the recording over by Big John's, because we're still in relative space.
Okay, yeah.
I call that bleed over. Yeah, I call it bleed over. So we'll give it a few more minutes here, because nothing negative is starting to come through. So I haven't really...
I heard all the ladies are ruined. Guess somebody's not happy.
We're going to see if anything else negative comes up out of that. Writing in the dark is a new skill set on my resume, everybody. Just so you guys know. They teach you that in college now, how to write in the dark.
I did ask her Lizzie, how old she was, and she wouldn't answer.
She may have over there. The answers can go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
That's why I like to use multiple
Okay.
communication devices. I also have a digital Ouija board in my, so that's new. Like, that's a brand new device that they just invented this past year. So it's not even being shown on the TV shows yet or anything.
So you do kids, correct?
I do.
Well, Brian did everything for me, so I wasn't. He just says, look up to okay.
Yeah. Podcast, blog, they both coincide with one another just because you have to see the evidence sometimes.
No.
So there's always a
Oh, I believe.
well, it's obviously because I don't always have just readers, so that's why the podcast exists.
Right.
But again, there's always, they match together, they complement each other. But the new school thing is really like my big focus for next year.
I was trying to figure out what that was, the light in the
ramp
car.
it up and sell those courses to show people how to, really
How to
do
really
this
do this.
instead of, a 2-hour thing with me. You know what I'm saying? It's fun in real time, but if you could take a course on just spirit boxes and you have 8 hours of information, it's all there. All the buttons, all the devices, all the methods, how to use it, training tools. It's all there.
I just hear.
It's a partridge in a pear
I'm
tree.
excited that I heard John pretty clearly.
That was big. That was.
And that's what I'm looking for.
And that's from him over there.
Eliza.
Oh, I'm sorry, Eliza. No wonder you probably didn't answer me. I didn't call you.
Wanna
How are you
go
guys
over
doing
here?
over there?
Mhm.
We're doing good.
Good. Yeah.
Have you heard anything?
Besides what I just told you, not really. And then Partridge in a Pear Tree, but Christmas Carol.
You want to come over here?
Shift. Yeah.
All right, let's move over to this
Come on.
wall because we're not getting really much out of this, and I'm kind of curious what's going on. Anything higher for you?
Oh, sorry.
So let me give you a better explanation of the numbers that Brian's receiving and how they actually work. So if you were to put that device, you can stop your recording at this point if you want to, because I'm just going to be going.
Killing it.
That's right.
Good teamwork, guys.
This is bitching. I love
Oh,
it.
shoot. Abuse.
No abuse.
July? Is that relevant?
But you had the word abuse.
Don't know.
Okay.
It's definitely a weird month to hear
Yeah.
while we're in December.
Right.
Mark it. All right. Pass. We'll kind of go over the history of this location and why we're here. You started filming in person, Marcus?
Huh?
Did you hit your record
Yes,
button?
yes.
You're on a square. Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So now you guys see how large these tour groups can actually get. So I'm sure you can appreciate the nice small instances that we have now. Damn, he's all right. He's in full motion.
Yeah.
Drinking?
No.
No?
No.
Somebody wants to.
I know, right? All right, so we're going to slow down on the terms for me.
Oh, I'm so
Hang
sorry.
on to them so we can get through the history so that way you guys can see all of the relevance of the things that you guys are about to hear. This is Philadelphia Alley. It's easy for me to remember where this is because this is the same city as where Eliza Lucas is buried. And her husband is buried like on the other side of this wall. So again, very easy for me to remember that, but it used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. Now, this has a very long history, even further back than the dueling, but we all tell the story of one specific duel because we can actually prove that it occurred. So, this place, let's kind of go into, I'm going to obviously tell you a little bit different because you need different details than the campfire ghost story that those guys just told. So, wow, those things get hot in my pocket. Just want to let you guys know. Like, I reached down, like, shit, that's hot. So, by the way, how hot are those? Can you actually see those?
Yeah, I can see them.
So,
Wow. They're brighter than you.
A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He was born in 1764.
Woo!
I'm not going to tell you the...
What?
Yes, July.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay. What's July?
He was born in July.
Oh,
He
July,
was
okay.
born in July.
Sorry, I'm listening and yeah, I'm trying
So
to
here's
multitask.
the other ironic piece of all of this is because we normally get the number 7 twice while we're in this location. His birthday is July 7th, 7-7. So we normally get a double 7. So unless we're getting a 7 on the word list or you missed a 7, we might actually have his full birthday, July
Nice.
7th, 64. Holy shit. Yeah. Significant for sure. You guys are getting me stoked up. All right. But anyway, he moves down here from Rhode Island because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. Dr. Ladd comes to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. He's going to start his own practice here and make his own cash. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. R.I., even before I had the Ouija board device that you and I were discussing, came up on spirit boxes here in the past. However, those are two different characters of the story. We need a secondary verifier. See who it actually belongs to. Right now, everything's leaning on the doctor. So again, we have almost his full birthday, which is a holy shit moment right now. So sorry, it's still in my head that we have July and 64 coming out of the same spirit box.
Theme. It's a theme.
It is definitely a theme of the doctor. Anyway, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. You don't want to stay here. I got some friends at 59 Church Street, not just 50. So again, you might be missing that 9 somewhere.
Yeah.
59 Church Street, you can rent a room from them. You'll be good to go. The doctor says, okay, I'll take you up on the offer. Now, the doctor and Ralph become friends, and the longer the doctor stays here, the more money he starts to make. He's proving his point. He wasn't after Amanda's money. Amanda gets wind of this, and she's going to be moving down so they can get married. Dr. Ladd becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. You can already see where this one's going, but I am going to tell you that every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has its cliched whistling ghost. I actually have proof of this one. We're getting to that. Ralph and the Doctor go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the Doctor makes more money. So on their way home is when they discuss these plays. They go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare, and they're discussing the new play and the new actress. The Doctor thought that the actress was fantastic. They had never seen her before. Ralph didn't think so. They start arguing, but then Ralph starts insulting the Doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways. They're pretty pissed off at each other. I told you Ralph is somewhat from here, has a lot of friends. Goes to put an ad in the newspaper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of Dr. Ladd. Kind of, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Doctor sees this ad and he rebuttals with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the Doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot his only shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. However, Ralph still has this one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the Doctor, and he fell to the ground in pain. So, again, these are all vague terms, but this was also in the fall. It was in October. So, again, it's like, damn it, it's a double tie. I need something else. Kind of verify. Anyway, Dr. Ladd didn't die, but his friends picked him up, and they carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies either 10 or 4 days later, depending on which version of the story you are reading online or in which book it is. The interesting thing is that his death date does not change. It is always November 2nd, no matter which story you're reading, and even on his headstone reads November 2nd of 1786. He died at the age of 22. Now, the funny thing is that all of those tours that just left here tell everybody to listen for the whistle. You're using a voice recorder right now. So again, keep in mind, if you're going to do this on your own with your own voice recorders, I can't take you all the way to the end because I've been kicked out of here. I'm going to get to that too. That's the fun part of the story. You're looking at me like, holy shit, who the hell did he sign us up with?
He gets kicked out of an alley.
I know. It's residential at the end. I'll get to it. But we're using a voice recorder, but I want you to keep in mind, if you're going to do it on your own, with your phones, all the locals know this story. Every one of us throws a whistle down the alley if we're walking up and down Queen or Cumberland
so
Street.
Bust you.
Right.
Just playing with you.
Now, I do it every single night. My garage is at that Scotchman. It's right above it where we just passed. So I have to walk past this alley to get back to my vehicle. I throw a whistle down here every single night. If my daughter's on the tour with us, we race to see who's going to throw the whistle first, especially since I got booted out. Let's get into why. This alley didn't come all the way through. It actually was about between us and Cumberland, about halfway shut off, because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. It's very interesting that you have to learn the history of these things to find out why things occur. That means that the bricks on the other side are older than the bricks we're standing on now. Those bricks were sun-dried bricks from slave children. I used to take my groups all the way through here just to show them that one brick with a full handprint from a slave child. Again, it's part of our history to show actually how far we've come away from slavery. I don't care about the diversity of my groups. We all need to see it. There's also fingerprint swipes in the bricks on the left-hand side of the wall if you're walking down this way. So, one night, November 26th of 2020, yes, a very specific date that I will never forget. I'm walking through, and we didn't use the spirit boxes with the earbuds yet. They were all open air, so it was a matter of turning them down and using the voice recorder, and they all wanted to try to get a reading out of that brick, of that group. I had 10 people that night. So they're all huddled around that brick, and I'm trying to shoo them along because it's outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. So he saw us for the last time and came out pretty angry. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving, November 27th. I didn't have a tour. I worked in retail management for over 20 years. I am never working another Thanksgiving in my life. Walmart, most of those years, by the way. So put that in the back of your brains. Wondering where the hell I got all of this crowd management? Yeah, that's where it came from. All of you came at me angry in Walmart one day, I promise you. But anyway, the next day after that, I got a phone call asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do, or to reroute my group. I didn't think it was fair with the timing that I had to bring my group of 10 to investigate a space with 20 to 60 other people. Just didn't think it was fair to them. So I told the story outside, and I told them, guys, I don't know much about this next story. I also don't believe in it. We're going to be discussing pirates. We're going to see what happens, and I'll tell you what I know. So it was one of those kind of experimental pieces. So before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. What I did not tell that group is who we were going to be investigating. Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. So I went, oh damn it, I'm a vampire guy, not pirates. So we get down there. I told them the little bit I did know about Anne Bonny and the space that we were in. Somebody else heard the number 300. I have no idea what the hell that number means. I go home. I'm doing the research for that group. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I went, damn it. Now I got to read a whole crap ton of books to try to piece together a piece
pirate
of fact.
story.
Well, not only just a pirate story, but it's lore. So literally everything we're going to be discussing at the next location came from a minimum of 2 resources. So if it came out of my mouth, it's going to be from a minimum of 2 or more resources. Again, it's very difficult to piece together a factual piece of investigation on pirate lore. The cool thing is, it's going to be an open forum for you guys. You're going to be able to ask whatever you want to. It's one of those pieces where I'm only going to hand you a couple of questions that we get answers to. In your device, we already showed you how to get the red out of it. If you ask Anne Bonny what her hair color is, that's the only place I've ever gotten a direct answer with a red. So again, we'll be using your REM pod in that location. Have we heard anything else crazy on your end? Because you're on like focus mode right
Yeah, I'm not. No, nothing
Okay.
special.
now. Any terms coming up?
Terms, yes. The most recent was blood. Before factory. Wood came back up.
Oh, I
Came
heard
back.
that.
Did you have wood before?
Yeah. So
How far was it?
But it doesn't say it though. But I remember seeing it before.
May have tapped it out. Those red X's will get rid of them from the list.
I try not to.
We've seen the word wood before when asking Eliza who the president was, and we'll get the word wood because
his teeth.
right. So George Washington is actually a long phrase to be coming out. The funny thing of how I learned about him being a pallbearer, by the way, George Washington was a phrase I heard on spot checks twice in the same week. George Washington, George Washington. I'm like, well, shit, that's the second time this week.
Yeah.
There's got to be something.
Yeah.
So I just did the research, and there it was. I'm like, that's a great question. But we started getting words like first, and then president. Then we started getting like wooden, and then tooth. You know, those kind of things. So it's kind of like we were starting to get a lot of little things
I
about
just
that.
don't like this one. Blood.
Well, we're dealing with duels.
I
got
heard
shot.
neck a couple minutes ago. Neck.
Yeah, John's. Well, the funny
But
thing
did
is,
you say who got shot?
He got
in the
shot.
that's
neck?
Big
Name.
John.
Okay.
Big
Yeah.
John.
Now, the funny thing
okay.
is we don't even know where Big John is buried.
Oh.
Now his funeral home was downtown, and the weird thing about the St. Philip's Church over here is that it's split into native Charlestonians and everybody else. He's a native Charlestonian, which doesn't have access to the public. It's a great possibility he's buried on the other side of this wall. We just don't know. Because, I mean, I've dug and dug and dug, and I can't find anything other than the funeral services were held downtown because of his celebrity status. So it's a very interesting piece that you have. She heard the word neck, and you also have the word blood. It's very interesting. Any spikes in here? We don't normally see much.
No.
Okay, we have caught some movement in this location with the thermal imaging camera. I also use an IR camera with larger groups, and we have caught some orbs in this location as well, which can be very interesting. That's a little bit more Ghostbustery looking, so when I have smaller groups on a Saturday night, again, those are a little bit more, they're harder to be discreet with because it's a big giant, yeah.
Well, the one we went on, we took pictures, and on our own physical camera, obviously before phones, because,
Sure,
and we saw orbs and apparitions in the pictures.
nice.
You
And
know,
I mean, I love video, but you guys send me pictures and videos all the time, and me and my wife analyze them to try to figure out what's going on with them. I'm usually the bearer of bad news, but at the same time, at least you know.
well, it was weird. It's like I took the picture, and then you know how you want to take another one.
Mhm.
I took the picture, and the orb moved.
What kind of phone do you use?
It was like a Canon. It
This
was
is a
an-
35
It
millimeter.
was a 35 millimeter.
Yeah, because some of those will shoot like short video too, like 30-second video. So when you're in those haunted locations like that, shoot video.
I don't know. It might have been pre because that was good ways ago.
That
yeah,
was
even
a
those
while ago.
slim, type cameras would have done that.
Yeah, we had some
I mean,
interesting.
we did have some though that weren't, where one was missing.
Because there was a couple. I mean, there was all these stories of shadows and bottles and
There's
things.
like
The back of the bar, glasses just coming off.
What's funny is that's what happens at Five Church Restaurant. They get, people, the bottles will fall off the shelves all the time. So,
And they had two people. They had a man and they had a young girl. They had two ghosts. And a
Right,
cat.
older man and a
And a
dog.
cat.
I
Oh,
think
that
it
was
a dog.
he had a dog, right?
He had a dog. They sometimes would see whatever.
They'd see him sitting at the
Sitting
end of the bar. Sometimes when they would come in.
interesting. Because we have a dog. The hauntings here too in Charleston. Coogan's Porch.
We went.
we
we
got
went
dinner
to
there.
Coogan's. Oh, I didn't know that was haunted.
Oh yeah. Let's go learn about some pirates. If you wanted to continue recording, you can, but just kind of be discreet as we're going through a little bit more public areas.
Okay.
And his sister published it after his death. The name of that book and collection was called The Literary Remains of Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. I will also tell you that the house that Dr. Ladd stayed in at 59 Church Street is a historical home here in Charleston. And most historical homes, if you've been walking around town, notice they have a marker and tell you
Yes.
who lived there and whatnot.
Right.
That is the only marker we have that actually tells you a ghost story. Yeah.
Wow.
And what's funny is they got the doctor's name wrong. They called him Dr. Joseph Ladd Brown on the sign. So, very interesting piece of information. Yes, I'm just chock full of. I forgot this too. You guys had me all talking about other things you were doing. So, remember the gate I was just standing in front of? It was there for a reason. Remember? What was it?
Chimp. CHIMP.
Now we're just getting into the cliches of pirates, right? They have little tiny monkeys. Well, those are like marsupial type things. Anyway, the gate.
Pause.
Pause, right? So the gate. Remember that the alley was kind of cut off on one end? So it was still that way during the duels. So in the event that there was a loser, it was a shortcut to get to the cemetery across the street. So otherwise they'd have to go all the way down the alley, which you're going to see how long it is from Marcus's camera, and go around Queen Street to come back around with a dead body. That's a long way around with a bunch of dead weight, literally. So they want to go celebrate the winter with a pint, go drinking. So we did hear the word drinking. Again, very big terms, but it's one of those pieces.
Weave.
That was not good.
Maybe they're telling us to weave away from the dead car.
Weave. No, but you said it would take a long time to get
Yeah,
around.
weaving.
Yeah, you'd have to weave around.
Weave a wobble
the
a little
dead
bit. All right, so we are here because of that little tiny building over there with the crosses on it, if you can see that. Those are not crosses, by the way, they're earthquake bolts. So the building behind it, Lexi, that you were just looking at, is an apartment building, just so you know.
Okay.
It's the little tiny one in front.
Gotcha.
So earthquake bolts, what the heck are those? In the event that there's another earthquake like what we had that I told you about earlier in 1886, which we haven't had one that large, earthquake bolts are basically turnbuckles. You can turn them after the earthquake, and it's supposed to tighten the building back up to, stop the damage from further incurring. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So the reason I bring these ones up specifically is it's part of the reason why we're here. Those were the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. So we're even before the doctor's times and before Eliza's times. So remember, she was born in 1722, died in 1793. So we're here because the building is what I call a familiar ghost. So it's like using a toy to attract a child ghost. There's not many buildings this old in Charleston, so I think I call it closer to the porta potty just so people can get to their cars. But yeah, let's put it down this way.
There goes my idea.
So back to why we're here. This building took 10 years to build. That doesn't sound like our government, does it? 10 years to build? But we're here because Anne came here during the middle of its construction. So 1708 is where the story begins. Follow me, there's a lot of twists. So I'm going to actually have you guys move in a little bit further. I feel like I'm straining my neck a little bit. Sorry, I'm in charge here, right?
We'll make it up.
My wife makes fun of me when I talk to my groups like this because sometimes she'll come on to tours for photos and that kind of thing for the blog. She's like, "You gotta stop having too much fun with your people." I'm like, "That's why they come to see me."
Yeah, part of the program.
I know, right? Young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. I say that part slowly because there's a lot of weird twists in it. If I say it too quickly, the scandal kind of gets lost. Everybody looks at me like, wait a minute, hang on, whose second cousin lived where? But anyway, they land in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. So Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly, right after. That means he's sending young Anne from Georgetown all the way down here to be able to sell things from the plantation to help keep things afloat. Take a step backwards, Anne back home in Ireland was said to already be a badass at the age of 7, 8, 9 years old. Remember, we're dealing with pirate lore? I don't have an exact age. As far as that goes, they say she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly when she was that young. So just put that mentality of this young lady in the back of your minds as we move through the story. Fast forward, the building's done in 1713. By 1715, pirates are really starting to come through Charleston. Anne's going to fall in love. so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. That's the whole reason behind it. It's a man's world, and she's tired of it. So, the first guy she falls in love with. Yes, I said first, because there's a handful, and we're going to go through them. Guy number 1, James Bonney. You can already see where this one's going, right? Dad didn't approve, filthy pirate. They go to Jamaica, they get married, and Cormac is now Anne Bonny, your famous female pirate. However, James Bonney is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. So every young lady wanted a Captain Jack Sparrow. I think they still do.
Yes,
but...
they do. They do.
So this guy's a privateer. He's a spy for the British. So in her eyes, he's a coward. This is not who she wants. A few years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the person that they based your Johnny Depp character off of. So this is the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. He has his own ship and wants to be part of it. Can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why?
Bad luck.
Right, bad luck. Thank you for keeping it family friendly. So I get a lot of different answers for that question. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy to look like my crew, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. So she's like, it's a man's world, let's go, I'm a pirate. Put 2 and 2 together, everybody, she's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. He drops her off in Cuba. These are friends of mine. They'll help you out with the pregnancy and birthing. Come back later and we'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. No amount of research I've done can find what happened to that child. That's not the significant part of the story. She comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. While she was away giving birth to his baby, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's going to go flirting with that pirate crew because that's what Anne does. We're on guy number 3, in case you all lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. Now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure because it was too long ago without written history. But the British find out where they are. Rumor had it that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks. Probably because they don't know how to use a cannon jet, by the way. They haven't been pirates for very long. Obviously, 2 ladies are not going to take on a whole fleet of ships from the British. They get arrested, and as they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog, or even barking, has come through on spirit boxes here in the past. The judge, he wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He wants to see these 2 brave young men, and that's already because he's, hung and tried Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. So they're already gone 2 days before. Anne and Mary go in front. They reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and he doesn't give a shit that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're pirates. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they shouted, because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Anne's father is still up here in South Carolina with his Irish money. He bails her out, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Reed as number 3. And she has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Yes, we don't know much about her after her pirate career. You were expecting more, weren't you? I seen that look on your face. Mary Reed, what happened to her? She died a year later in that Jamaican jail from wherever pirates die from their Jamaican jail. So, 2 things I left out of this story on purpose, so that way you at least have something to work with. We're going to stay within the confines of this lot. We are going to be using your REM pod, but I will tell you your numbers. As you get closer to those bushes in that crazy old 1976 van over there, you're going to start to see numbers based on the parking meters on the other side of the bushes. Don't get excited. We also have 2 electrical poles in the corners, so kind of keep that in mind.
So turn this back on?
Yes. Antenna first.
No.
Sorry, didn't mean to bark at you like that. So the 2 questions I left out are the names of Anne Bonny's parents. That would be the father and his mistress. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. So that way you guys at least have something to work with. If you want to ask other questions, by all means do so. Again, Anne Bonny, if she's here, this is a hit or miss location. We're either going to have a lot going on or nothing at all. Anne is said to be seen all over town, but this is a familiar building. Hopefully we're going to capture something. You guys haven't told me anything yet that would hopefully come through. So let's spread out a little bit, and then we're going to hang out by that wall, and I'll give you the answers, and we'll move on to our last location after that.
Okay.
So nice slow movements out of you. No filming of cars or people walking through. The church gets angry. So this is church property.
I thought I heard "come on."
Come on. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna have my moment with Anne Bonny, so
She's excited about the pirates.
with my eyes closed, and then I opened it, and your shadow was right next to mine. Asked when she died, she said this time of year. Very exciting. I got to chat with Aunt Bonnie. How exciting.
Alright, Pirate Girl, what are you getting?
Do you know what time of year she died?
Yes.
I asked that question and she said this time of year.
It was, remember, her trial was, that she actually died. Shit. It was not this time of year.
Wasn't?
Her trial was this time of year. Her
Oh.
death was not.
Okay.
I'm going to say her death was April 22nd, 1784, 1782, somewhere in that bracket, depending on which article you find. She was born on March 8th, died April 22nd. The funny thing about that is those are the 2 dates of my brother and his wife's birthdays.
Oh.
That's how I remember that one. History's fun, dude, I promise.
It all comes full circle eventually.
Always. It's how I remember all this stuff. I gotta find a relation. It's how I remember names. So, did you guys catch that we had the word boyfriend show up on the word list when we were over at the Pinckney Mansion?
Mm-mm.
And we were, you'll hear it on your regular audio, we were all discussing,
I forgot to tell you. She said significant other.
she had the word significant.
No shit.
Yeah.
Over there?
Yeah, but it showed up back here.
Oh, I didn't even hear that part. I heard significant other.
Here, at this
Yes,
location?
like right there.
We do get a lot of female lead terms, so you're gonna hear a lot of like, what's the term? Genderized female terms, like her, she, those kind of things. I loved her, anything dealing with pronouns that are female.
Yeah.
So one of the most,
Government.
one of the weirdest things I've ever caught from this location on your spirit box, I don't remember how long ago it was, but I'm doing my spot check and I hear 2 female DJs laughing their asses off and they're saying, they think we're guys. I'm like, you got it.
No shit.
Like, one of the, like,
Perfect.
yeah, we hear girls just want to have fun all
Yeah.
the time here. So again, song lyric. I don't care that Cyndi Lauper sang it. I care about what Cyndi Lauper
Yeah.
was singing.
Right.
Just like the Ice Ice Baby thing that you heard.
I heard it twice. I'm not gonna lie. I heard it once, the first, like whenever we first turned it on, and then whenever we lived at the parking lot.
Did you get a chance to listen, Marcus?
I did not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm being so selfish over here.
Oh no!
Would
it's
you like
okay.
to listen?
Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
You have to slow me down. I'm on a mission.
I already keep track of all of this.
I got a 1%
Did you hear that everybody knew?
marginal.
Rocket Man is funny. I don't know why I'm holding this up like that. Guilty,
Guilty
pleasures?
pleasures?
Oh, kinky, Ann. Go ahead.
any pirate terms. Lexi, you got anything coming out of there?
We got guilty pleasures.
That's common for here. I meant for the radio stations, because we have a lot of those type of stores here.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to write it down. But it's over to the wall. That's kind of be kind of
Okay, I'm still in this bag, so I
Okay,
don't
go
rip it
ahead.
out of your ear. Go ahead, Ann. I didn't. Nothing special. I was also trying to pay attention, but the cars were
Oh,
distracting.
come on.
No, I'm failing the team here. I'm sorry, guys.
You just wanted to go dancing.
So this location, like I said, very
Far?
unique.
Okay.
Now this guy's a native. When I say native, he's from Charleston. So again, you're gonna look at all the monuments in here. I had no idea who the hell I was going to encounter. We have George Washington over there. We've got Andrew Jackson's mother's memorial over there. We've got another Marguerite Volk is up in the corner. I had no idea who I was going to come across. Came here with 2 people. We had a bunch of clues to this man right here. The funny thing is I already heard this story on another ghost tour while I was researching, putting this company together years ago. And I was like, damn, now I got a little bit more over here. The funny thing is that they normally tell this story over by the Charleston Library Society because that's where all of his work is held. Now, the interesting thing about this man, his name is Henry Timrod. So the first night I was here, we actually had his exact year of birth, which was 1821. And we also had the name Henry and the name Tim. His last name is Timrod, one word. So very interesting that we had all those terms, and I was like, damn it. So here's how this goes. This guy was actually a poet, and he wrote other things too, but he's known for his poetry. You have to remember he's alive during the Civil War, and he wants to fight for the South. He joins the Confederate Army. His men and comrades realize that he's too sick to fight. He has tuberculosis. So they send him home, and they ask him to be the voice of the war. And they actually started writing, about what was going on the battlefield, and he became known as the Laureate of the Confederacy. So he actually has kind of a title behind him. He loses a son. I'm not going to tell you the son's name because it's very specific, and it has come up here in the past. Very interesting that you're getting those kind of readings already. We're going to test a few locations. But in 1867, one of his collegiate friends gets a hold of him and says, you know what, I know you haven't been feeling well. You just lost your son a few years ago. Why don't you come out to my cottage in Columbia, which is our capital, center of the state, and you could stay here and you can write in peace and not have any memories of what happened to your son. So he goes out there and he's writing his last words. He didn't know it at the time, but his last sentence that he wrote was, beholder of brief mortality, meaning person with short life. Very interesting set of terms. And then he coughs on the page. Remember, he has tuberculosis.
Bloodstains.
He leaves a blood stain on the page, and it falls in the shape of a man writing over his desk. So they call it the Blood Book. They only show it one time a year at the Charleston Library Society, and it is on Halloween. So it's the only time it's ever on display. However, I'm going to show you what the page looks like, where you can actually see his last line and the bloodstain. But after that, I'm actually going to read the last stanza of his poem he entitled Charleston, which kind of goes along with what was going on with the war at the time. But I know poetry is pretty boring to read out loud, but at the same time, we're stirring shit up. That's why we're here. I will also tell you that Henry was considered a very shy man. So the interesting thing is we're getting things from him about his wife, about his son, and he's telling us small bits about his life. I want to say, I can't remember the exact year because it's been a week that I've been reading anything about him. Died in the year 1867, if I'm not mistaken. So again, he wasn't very old. He was 38 years old when he passed away. So let's get into the Blood Book page that they display. And then you guys will be able to investigate and walk around. You can ask for the wife's name, the son's name, and then anything else that you want to ask about him. So this is the page that
Oh shit,
he
it really
coughed
does.
on. And it looks just like a man writing over that page. And you can even see the last line says, beholder of brief mortality. Wow, you're getting any numbers out of that?
No.
No, just colors. So you can see the blood stain. Obviously, this is the page that they endured. So, the last stanza. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The last tour I did, somebody brought an SLS camera. If you're unfamiliar with that, that's the stick figures. So, I don't have one because they're giant, right? The bag's already heavy enough. We caught, and I'm going to be testing tonight, a full figure with responses at this statue. And you talked about direct contact. It was Henry, raise your arm if it's okay for me to read the last stanza of your poem entitled Charleston. Right back down again. I'm like, are you kidding me? Here's the interesting thing. 8 minutes of footage of this guy responding to us. A female from the group goes over and puts her hand out and asks to shake his hand. And he disappeared and we couldn't get him back. You have to remember the times. A female approaching a male at that time was probably disrespectful.
Yes.
So again, makes complete sense when you know your history. Told you history was fun, Mark. I'm only ragging on you because you haven't said a word.
He's a good cameraman.
I know, he is a great cameraman. Give him a job.
And don't call me Marcus. Call me Shirley.
We know not in the temple of the fates, God has inscribed her doom. I also find it interesting he refers to God as a female. And all untroubled in her faith, she waits, the triumph or the tomb. He's basically stating that the state of Charleston is in the hands of the war. This was written in 1862, right in the middle of the Civil War. They're either going to triumph or go to the tomb and
I heard
fall.
1862 as soon as you said 1862. I shit you
Shut
not.
the front
I
door.
shit you not. It was very faint, but I heard it.
Well, the good thing is you're recording, so I'll be able to verify it in my spot checks.
Economics?
I don't know what that means here, but it doesn't mean that it's not relevant. Again,
Yeah,
I've had
orange.
other things relevant to other memorials here, but
Orange spread economics.
with your device, Brian, we have caught triple-digit readings. Some nights it's been over in this corner, right behind the bench. Other nights it has been behind the the exact opposite bench on the opposite side. And other nights we get nothing. It just depends on where we're finding the person. Again, ask for
100 years? Don't know.
I heard that. Yeah, we're gonna hopefully get some good stuff in here. Definitely get those spirit boxes cranked, spread out, have some fun. Let me know when you're getting numbers, Brian. I'll come
Single.
running.
Football.
Single football. Yeah, not happening.
Okay.
They didn't even know what the hell football was in 1867.
No.
Still looking at soccer. So what do you think? Is this what you guys thought you signed up for?
Oh, Jesus. I'm so sorry, what?
Is this what you guys thought you signed up for?
Yes. I'm very excited about it, I'm not gonna lie. I've always wanted to use one of these things.
Well, the cool thing is that when you guys get your data back, everything's downloadable.
Yeah.
It's yours. So I'm going to explain all of that like before we part ways and start heading
Right.
back to our vehicles. But I'll explain. Like, it's a pretty lengthy report that you get back. So there's going to be a lot going
I'm
on there,
excited.
and everything. Like, your data stays on my website for an entire year. So
Nice.
you can go back and look at whatever date you want. If I had a tour that night, it's going to be up there.
Okay.
So again, I don't hide anything. It's all up there
Sweet.
for speculation. So,
Awesome. Awesome.
so you're normally not this quiet. I've just been talking too damn much. Is that the case?
No, he talks as much as I do usually.
I lost my bait. Where the hell did it go?
Uh-oh. That's a 911.
No, I got my military pants on today, so I got like 1,000 pockets. So they make a very generic SLS camera. App. Testing over there. I've gotten some responses from it in the past.
Just recorded that.
Absolutely.
I heard 40th a minute ago. I don't know if that's significant.
let me forget. Sorry, I'm testing.
Hurricane. Blood factors?
Remember the word blood. That
What?
book, the word blood is significant. The reason why, again, your spirit wants to slow down. The color's a big red bar. Move off the red nose right here. I don't need to move off the nose right here. I just need red. If you have blood, something, whatever else you heard, I'm excited because the book I just showed you is called The Blood Book. See where you guys get me from?
Yes. You're connecting the dots for us.
Always.
Shit, this one is
Come back, Henry. Guys, give me a little bit more than that.
Come back.
No way.
Huh?
I just told Henry to come back.
Oh. Must have been just after you said it because I heard come back.
Henry, can you come back like you did the other night?
Blood come back. No shit. Oh my god, that was a good one. Lost. Did you hear me say lost? Henry, what was the name of your poem? Here?
You see him right there? Picks up pretty good. As long as somebody's close enough, it'll pick them up.
39 twice.
39? He was 38. See how it automatically picks up the
Yeah.
mapping of them? So we actually had a full stick figure for 8 minutes
Wow.
responding to us with an actual SLS, not a phone app. So again, I want to test this out more so that way we actually have
Yeah.
something pretty legit. She had the word blood come back and 38.
628.
I don't know if that means anything.
I don't know. I look at that as a date, like June 28th
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I've been having cryo here. I don't know if that is anything.
She has the word blood that came up twice. So a lot of times when that shows up, you will get the word book on one of yours here. That was a while ago. That was like, that just
know. I went up to 39. Twice.
Alright, I got a weird thing. Why you care?
Why am I out here?
I heard why you care. I was But it's weird because when I hear a woman
Disembodied voice is usually where I care which gender it's coming from. And your device picks up the disembodied voice is better.
Start doing some jumping jacks.
It's very interesting. You guys tell me the gender. Those ones, I usually tell them, I don't know what gender it is. Her voice just said hi, Kia. Like, no, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's so weird. It almost has that eeriness to it. There's a
It's
feeling.
usually monitored.
Yes.
Why you care.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
There's no feeling behind it.
No.
You were asking about your collection. How do you pick it up? I look at the wood daisies and leather and look for what tools that I need. That's all we need for now. So I can actually see what combination. That was something else.
Yeah. Always supposed to. Yeah.
It's the combination where I can see, is it the latter year or is it the beginning of the year for a full year?
Just care to listen.
Anyway, what do you want to tell us?
I don't know. Maybe
I'm
we'll show this in
learning
your
more
ear.
and more about you as I read your story, your
Want my
biographies
cooties off?
that have been written.
There's no way I'm gonna be
You
able
got
to
it.
do this.
You got it.
Is it in there? Okay.
What message do you have for us?
I've heard Broken, Sanderson, and Wanted so far.
Hmm.
Everything else was a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I guess Soldier counts.
What root? And I'll use that as inspiring. Like, are you telling us your roots are here because you're a native Charlestonian? Like, what is it you're trying to tell us? You two getting anything over there?
I've gotten Broken, Sanderson, Wanted, and Soldier. In that order.
Now, the collegiate friend that I told you all about,
Mhm.
we've had his name show up here in full format. His name is Paul Hayne Hamilton. I've had Paul show up in one spirit box, and then somebody else says, I just heard the word Hayne. And then somebody else said, what about Hamilton? I heard Hamilton on mine. Like, again, you can't make this stuff up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Soldier Boy was playing, but I heard Soldier, so.
Okay.
And then I have thin and the word hunting.
Oh, shit.
So you're telling us you were thin and who hunted you?
Were you tall or short?
It kills me every time it
Tall or
comes
short?
on.
We have all these boxes here you can use. Any other numbers coming out of yours besides that 39?
I got a couple of like 7 points.
624?
Yeah.
We have 628.
I had 628.
Oh, shit.
Hmm.
You heard that too. I wasn't tripping on that, right?
I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought I did.
There's other nights I tested that same spot. You know, we had trip like over Frank and carrying out.
So, half past 12.
How high?
Johnny.
Johnny?
16.
We heard Johnny. Jesus. Freezing my ninnies off. Penguin huddle.
Getting a couple 8.9s. Anything higher than the green color? Blue, yellow? Which war?
What war was it?
I know we're all asking her a bunch of questions. Exactly.
Did you hear that? It said evil spirit. Oh, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
That's why I don't always reveal things to the animals.
Okay, so how many evil spirits are around here? Because I ain't playing. I swear.
Henry, what do you hear right now? Charleston. It's common. I don't usually write down Charleston because you're in Charleston. It's like a Charleston radio station. Anything with the current year and the name Charleston, I don't want it.
I wasn't even paying attention. I asked that question and it said
Henry, what was
123.
making that sound from the church?
Like a couple seconds ago.
The evil spirit question.
Mm-hmm. It said 123. Right? No.
More descriptive. Tell us more.
You guys
Word
got
of
anything
God.
else coming out over there?
Word of God just played.
We're near the second tallest steeple.
Makes sense.
Evil spirit and word of God. They get conflicting messages over there or what?
Yeah, that's the word on here.
That evil spirit one creeped me out a little bit, not gonna lie.
Can you give us your wife's name? You've given it to us before, multiple times.
Wish. I wish. Could you please tell me? I don't know.
That was creepy. That was creepy.
What'd you hear?
It was just a kid's voice and it sounded... I couldn't make it out what it said, but it was really creepy sounding.
Probably a Christmas song.
Yeah.
Just ignore them, Henry.
Both of our faces were like...
Anything else?
Something unholy.
It's
We heard something unholy. The song.
something. Was that the lyric?
Yep. Something unholy.